Hey guys, Rebecca Wise with LulaRoe Rebecca Wise here again. And now that I've talked about the struggles of onboarding, I wanted to talk about what do you do now? Because once you have the money and you started to onboard, there's a lot of things to do. And it can feel a little overwhelming. I did start a lot of research and planning before I had the money because I knew I was going to make it. So I did do a lot of planning beforehand. And hopefully you are doing that as well. So even if you don't have the money yet, or you do and you have onboarded and you're just like, where do I even start? I definitely have a lot of things and a lot of advice, just things that I've done. Take it with a grain of salt. Everybody should do whatever they feel is the best for them. But definitely I have some little tips and things and some information that I think might be helpful to you. I am sort of a research hound. I love to research absolutely everything to the nth degree. So I pretty much watched every possible LulaRoe video on YouTube. And then I read through Fashion Fundamentals and did all of that stuff. So I definitely recommend that you do that as well, because I think it will help you really learn what everybody else is doing and pull from those things. And certainly I got a lot of great ideas and a lot of help from others who came before. So hopefully I can do that for you as well. And you can benefit from the knowledge that I've gained from watching probably 100 hours of YouTube videos. So while you're in the queue, there is plenty to do, certainly. And the first thing that you have to figure out is what direction your business is going to go. What is your focus going to be? Certainly you have a lot of options. There's in-home pop-ups, multi-consultant groups, your own Facebook group, live sales, events. There's a lot of things that you can do to sell. So you have to figure out what's going to be best for you, what's going to fit into your schedule, your lifestyle, and just, what's going to fit your personality. For me personally, I don't have a huge network of associates and friends. I have a core group of good friends, and that's pretty much it. So in my previous business, I did try to do some in-home pop-ups, but I'm just not very good at it. And I don't enjoy trying to solicit people to, hey, come book a party. And it just really wasn't my thing. So I really enjoy the live sales. I find myself watching Periscope sales religiously. I find them really interesting, a lot of fun. So that's what I'm personally drawn to. So I'll probably do a lot of Periscope sales and live sales. And then I also will probably do a lot of online sales through Facebook and through my group and through multi-consultant groups and leggings loops and all of those things. I still am not really clear what a leggings loop is, but I'm going to figure it out. So the first thing you want to do is figure out which is going to be the best approach for you. Certainly you should try everything and see what's going to, one, just what you're comfortable with, and two, what gets you the best result. It may be that you hate in-home pop-ups, but you make a ton of money when you put some effort into it, and online sales just kind of tank for you. So it's just going to be what works for you. So I definitely try everything, but have an idea of kind of the direction you want to go, because that's going to dictate a lot of things. Certainly if you are like me and strapped for cash, you don't want to do everything and at once. So what's your strategy going to be? What are you going to focus on? And that will go into what your launch plan is for your business. LulaRoe is big on the 72-hour game plan. And I get that. It's definitely a direct sell mentality. However, that's not really going to be my focus. I'm going to do that in the beginning. I'm definitely going to approach friends and family about, and just people I know, about doing pop-ups and those sorts of things, whether that be online or in person. So I'll definitely do that for my personal group. And I would never turn somebody down if they wanted to do an in-home pop-up. But you have to figure out what your strategy is going to be. So once you kind of figure that out, certainly, and one of the things you should do, like I did, was go to YouTube, put in LulaRoe in the search box, and there's going to be a mountains of videos that turn into other videos. And it's like, honestly, it seems like it's never ending. And if you're watching this, maybe you slog through that, which, thank you, I appreciate you watching it. And hopefully you learned something. But YouTube is your wealth of knowledge, and you are never going to get, you know, the kind of wealth that you can get off YouTube anywhere else, because you have all these consultants at your disposal, and they're all sharing their experience. So research before you decide, you know, what direction you'd like to go, and what things you want to do for your launch. Certainly it sort of informed me in how I want to do things, both in the direction and also just in my mentality, I guess. I think that's what I would call it. You know, I don't want to do things like everybody else does it. I will do some of that, but I'd like to do some things a little bit differently as well. So I'll actually be doing, I'll have 2 Facebook groups, and I'll get into the group thing in a little bit, but I'm going to have 2 Facebook groups, and one is going to be just my regular LulaRoe Rebecca Wise group, in which I will do all the normal tactics. Hey, I'm giving away free pair of leggings, come join the group, and you could win, that sort of thing. And I'll do those things. But then I'm going to have a special group for the special people that are loyal customers, who are very active in the groups. And that will be an invite-only group with lots of perks and special things. So I'm just going to do things a little bit differently, and still follow that mentality. And eventually I'll figure out what works and what doesn't work. So definitely go through YouTube, Fashion Fundamentals. Fashion Fundamentals, I didn't feel like was for me, as informative as YouTube, but it has a different focus, I feel like. Fashion Fundamentals is really going to teach about the clothes, about the culture of LulaRoe, and it's going to go over some things like time management and those sorts of things. So it's definitely valuable. But it's not going to get to the real detail things that you're probably wondering about. So once you've figured out what you want to do, that's going to sort of dictate where you need to go from there, what you need to set up, what things you need to purchase, and then how you're going to launch. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to go ahead and just kind of outline where you want to go, what your plan is, and have that ready. So once you've done that, you'll be ready for the next set. So grab a piece of paper and a pen. So I'm going to give you a long list of things. I encourage you to look into them and decide what is good for you, what's not good for you, what you want to do, what you don't. But certainly, I want to give you as much information as possible so that you have something to go off of. So get that pen and paper out. Oh, and also another thing is you have to figure out how you're going to ship. There's a lot of details to remember, a lot of things to know, and you know, how you're going to focus your business, how you're going to ship, what your process is going to be for holding live sales, or multi-consultant sales, or how you're just going to ship your product out to people. So there's a lot of things to figure out, and you're going to need to know everything. So kind of do have some of those questions in mind. You know, what am I going to do? How am I going to ship? What's going to be my process? And there's plenty of videos out there that's going to teach you how to do those things. So, let's see. All right, so sorry, I have notes. Otherwise, I'd forget everything. So the first thing you want to do, which you may have already done if your sponsor was doing her due diligence, and that is to set up your LulaRoe email. So you want to do a Gmail account, and it's going to be there's a standard for LulaRoe, and the standard is it's going to be LulaRoe, first name, last name, at gmail.com. So you're going to want to go to Google, set up that email address, because everything is going to work off of that email. So go ahead and do that first. And then you're going to want to log into Build and Bless and set everything up there. Fill out your profile and verify your bank account. And something that you want to do or think about, at least before you verify your bank account, is what bank account are you going to use? Originally, I verified my personal account, and then I thought better of it. So I went ahead and I opened a business checking account, checking and savings account. And I, for me personally, and I could have done it through my bank, and just set up another account, but I decided to open a business checking account with Capital One. They have a they have Spark Business account, which is pretty much all online, and that's what the majority of your business is going to be, is online transactions, because everything goes through Bless, and then through Build, and so everything is a digital transaction. Not often are you going to have physical cash changing hands. So I went with that route because it was just easier for me, and I could use any ATM if I wanted to get cash out for any reason. So that was just something that I chose, but there's plenty of options out there. So definitely think about having a business checking account, because things will get messy when you start having a lot of transactions going through your account with all your expenses and then your income or your sales. So do think about that. And then what you're gonna want to do is, and this is some great things, which I haven't done yet, but I'm going to, is I did hear in a YouTube video that someone suggested to consult a CPA. Something that you may or may not have thought about is the fact that you are going to have to set aside some money for taxes, income taxes, because this is basically, as a consultant, you are a freelance not freelance, sorry. You're your own business owner. So you're going to have to, hold back those income taxes, and I think you can elect to either pay them quarterly or just wait to the end. It's up to you, but I would talk to the CPA about that. But there's a lot of things that you need to know about, they'll go over based on your income and your situation, what the best amount to hold back is. And then also they'll discuss with you, what you need to do as far as keeping track of expenses, what's a deduction, what's not a deduction, all of those things. So definitely consult a CPA. It's better just to do it. A lot of CPAs will just do a free consultation. And you can always shop around for a good CPA, or if you know somebody that could recommend one to you, I would definitely go that route too. And then another thing someone mentioned in a YouTube video was insurance. Never crossed my mind to think about insurance. Because you're going to have a lot of money in inventory sitting around in your house. What if something happens? What if, heaven forbid, your house catches on fire? Or what if you're at a pop-up and somebody trips over your rack and breaks their leg? I mean, things happen, and you need to be prepared for that. So I think there's a bunch of different options. I would consult your insurance agent. I have heard that in some states you can add on to your homeowner's insurance. There's some sort of an add-on that you can do. I have not looked into this yet, but I will be very soon. But some states you can do an add-on. Some states you can't, and you have to have a separate policy for that. And I believe what I heard was that when you have the separate policy, it also covers you for things like if somebody trips over and breaks their leg. So definitely look into that, because you don't want that to happen and not be covered. It would be a disaster. So definitely look into that as soon as possible. Okay, so now let's get down to brass tacks, because now the fun begins. The first thing you're going to want to do is set up your Facebook group. So again, there is a standard to Facebook groups naming, and that is LulaRoe, first name, last name. Now, no longer are there partnerships, so there's no need to worry about that, but you do need to set it up in a standard way. So I did do that for my original group, and then my second sort of VIP private group, I created a completely different name. But you will need to set up your Facebook group, and I would do that as soon as possible, so that you can start adding your friends and family and start getting them excited. This was a very personal journey for us, and certainly a lot of friends and family were involved and knew what we were doing. And so you definitely want to share that with them. Don't try to sell them. Just kind of say, how excited you are and how things are going. And definitely when you get your call, that you want to announce that you got your call so that people can congratulate you. But you do want to start your group. And then start posting and inviting your friends and family to join that group. So go ahead and do that. And then in order to get like images and things for your, what is that called? The cover photo and your profile picture, you can go into Build, and they have a wealth of images that you can use that are already branded and approved by LulaRoe. But there's also, what I did for a lot of things is I just Googled, whatever it was in particular that I wanted, I just did a Google search for it and found images, and then just saved those images and edited them with a photo editing software. I personally have Photoshop just because I'm in marketing and I'm a photographer and those sorts of things, so I have that. But there's a lot of apps that you can use. We'll get into that in a little bit, but yeah, you can pull them from pretty much anywhere. So I would kind of get a stockpile of images that you can start using and customizing. And then what I would do is, depending on the direction that you decided to go in, if that was that you felt like you were going to do a lot of live sales or a lot of Facebook sales, or Facebook group, just online, you may, and you should, well, first of all, you should definitely sign up for an Instagram. Now, I personally will probably slack off, just gotta admit it, that and not do too much with it, at least in the beginning, because it's just so hectic and so crazy, and you're just trying to figure it all out, and keep your head above water. But definitely go ahead and post, sign up for that account and post a couple of things with your name on it. And there are definitely some YouTube videos on with some great tips on that. And then if you are going to be doing a lot of live sales, then I would also sign up for Periscope. I am addicted to Periscope. I'm just gonna say, I am so addicted to Periscope. I find it so incredibly fun and easy. So I'll be doing a lot of live sales, and it's just fun because you can see people's personality, and you just get really sucked in by some of the people. You just find some really fun people that you just think are hilarious, and just it just pulls you in. And it's like one of those bugs to one of those zapper lights. You're like, what? So anyway, so sign up for Periscope if that is something that you're interested in doing. Even if you're not interested, I would still sign up and just watch people's sales, and see what other people are doing. It's just a lot of fun. So go ahead and do that. And then some things that I would sign up for as well is when you onboard and you're waiting for your inventory, a lot of times LulaRoe does not put in the tracking information or even say that it's shipped. Sometimes it just shows up people's door and they never even get a tracking number. Not sure if there's some sort of breakdown in their system, but that has been a problem recently. So what you'll want to do is sign up for a UPS My Choice account, because that's going to send you alerts via email or text message when a package is mailed, or if there's a delay, or when it arrives at your doorstep, those sorts of things. So sign up for that account. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. And when they ship your inventory, you're going to know it. Instead of sitting there wondering, are they going to ship? I've been waiting for 3 days. What's going on? You're going to know as soon as they process a tracking number for your address. The other thing you want to do is, if you have any inclination that you are going to be doing some events, and even if you want to do this for your in-home pop-ups, I'm seriously considering doing that, just because I don't want to sit there and type everything into Bless when people are there. I'd rather just make it easy for them to purchase. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to sign up for Square. Now, Square is what is sanctioned by LulaRoe. I had a PayPal account with one of those PayPal swipers, but that is not sanctioned by LulaRoe. So I said, okay, I'll just go get a Square one. It's fine. And I just signed up for one of the free ones that it's just a swiper. If they're still allowing me to just do swiping, then I'm going to do it for free, because the one with the chip, you actually have to have two. Like, I know everything is going to chip now, but they have both still. And the chip reader, you have to pay like $50 for it. I was like, not doing that. Especially because I don't have the money. So definitely go and sign up for Square. It is free. They send you the little card swiper to plug into your phone. And what I immediately did when I signed up for my Square account is I loaded all the sizes and styles into Square, at least the ones that I was going to be receiving in my inventory. Loaded all those sizes and styles and prices into my Square, so that when the time came for me to be doing events, all I have to do is go in and say, okay, this person is buying an extra large Irma, and I just go to extra large Irma and I click on it and it automatically comes up, and then you can put in your taxes and stuff as well. So it'll make it easier when the time comes for me to do events. I don't have to think, oh wait, I gotta stop and go put this stuff in. And no, I have some time on my hands now, so I just went ahead and did it. And it is very easy. I have used it before for personal things, for a family business. So order one of those. And then, as I mentioned earlier, there is some softwares or apps that you can get that will put images together. Now, this becomes very important, not just for creating your own personalized photographs, LulaRoe stuff, but also if you are planning to do album sales on your Facebook page, that could be coming real handy. Especially if you are not going all out and getting the signs made up that have LulaRoe in your name and what style and size it is and all that good stuff. So the software, the apps allow you to overlay what the size and style is, as well as the price and whatever else you want. So that is a really easy, and I think it's even free, way to do that without having to spend the additional money. And that also allows you, something that I'm doing personally because I feel like it's more effective, and as a customer I really appreciated it. When you take a photograph of one of your pieces, oftentimes there's a texture to the fabric, there's a nuance in the pattern, and you want to get a close-up picture. So what I did was, the app that I'm using is PicJointer, and it allows you to put multiple images together in sort of a collage. So I'll have my stand-up image of my dress form with my clothes on it, and then I'll have like my name or whatever, and then I'll have a close-up photo of the pattern. And I actually purchased an additional thing for my phone, and I'll talk about that later, that will allow me to take a better close-up photograph of the pattern. So that is a possibility. So if you want to download one of those, certainly you have many, many, many choices, like photo collage, and if you want to go all out and get like PicMonkey or something, certainly you can do that. There's a million of them, so just go ahead and look around. One of the other big things is when it comes to doing album sales on Facebook, if you haven't heard already, there's something called Facebook jail. Who knew? I was like, Facebook jail? What is that? But it's real, and you don't want it to happen to you. So basically what happens is anytime that you do a recurring action, or repeated action, a repeated action multiple times on Facebook, whether that's commenting the same thing over and over and over again, whether that's uploading images over and over and over and over again, it thinks you're spamming and it blocks you. And people get put in Facebook jail for, maybe 24 hours. It could be weeks, or I think I even saw somebody was in there for like a month or so. So it is not a good thing. You do not want to be there. So one of the tactics is that you can, and actually I think this is a great idea, is you can take your photos and have them go right into Google Drive. So what you do is you just open up Google Drive, and there's a little plus button at the bottom, and it allows you to open up the camera and take the photo right into Google Drive. So what I did was I have Google Drive, and I set up folders for all my different styles. And then once I get my inventory, I will photograph that. And when I name the photograph, I'll do it in such a way that it keeps the styles in order. So if you just name them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is, it'll keep the sizes extra small, small, medium, large, all in order. If you don't do that, it's going to mix them up. And then what you can do is you can just take that style folder and upload it into Facebook. And if you give yourself just a little bit of time in between, then it will not put you in Facebook jail. So that is a way to do it. There's also things like Shop the Row that does your uploading for you. And that's also an option to keep you out of Facebook jail. But Google Drive, you already have a Gmail account, so you have a Google account. It's also a great way to be able to just see what kind of inventory you have, and then as you sell certain styles, then you just delete the picture. So then you always know exactly what you have in inventory. So if you have another sale coming like the next day, there's no scrambling through your inventory to try to figure out what do you still have. Because as you've sold it, you just go in, delete, 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 and now you only have the pictures of the inventory you have left. So that was a little trick I learned on YouTube. So you definitely want to do that. The other thing you're going to want to do, and there's many theories about, everybody has kind of their own way of doing things. And certainly, like I said, go to YouTube, figure out what's going to work for you. After watching all the things on YouTube, I personally, am going to use, Google Forms for my online sales, because, I think it's just going to make it easier. So what they do is when they comment sold, they fill out a Google form. And that Google form, in that form, you're asking them for all their, just general information, their name, their email, their address, where they, what items they claimed. So for like a Facebook live sale, it's going to be, item number 237, and whatever description, TC pink leggings, whatever. So they can then put in their description of the items that they purchased or that they claimed. And then some other pertinent information. I also, in mine, and of course, do whatever you want. Everybody has kind of a different variation. I also put in mine a checkbox. Sorry, let me back up. I put in a little disclaimer about my exchange policy and return policy, and then also about, what's the other one? Return exchange and poo. I forgot. There was another policy. Darn, I cannot remember. But there's another policy that I also put in. I put in a little description. I think it was about invoicing and shipping time. And put that in there, and then put a little checkbox where they had to say, yes, I agree to the terms or whatever. Or I read and understand the shipping policy or something like that. And then I also used it to ask people if they wanted to host a pop-up, whether online or in person. And then I also had a question about whether or not they were interested in getting some information about being a consultant. I'd like to think I did mine a little bit differently, and I kind of worded it a little bit differently so that it wasn't just like, hey, you want to be a consultant? Okay, let me send you some information. Didn't do it like that. I kind of switched it up, and I said, hey, do you love clothes? Do you love making money? I forget what exactly I said, but and then I made the answers like, yeah, that's totally me. I want to be a consultant, that sort of thing. Or no, I'm just not that cool, or whatever the case may be. I kind of tried to make it fun and made it seem like I wasn't trying to solicit them. I know I personally hate that. It's like, no, I'm not interested in that. No, I'm not interested. I mean, just quit asking me. So I wanted to make it a little more fun, but still ask them if they were interested. There's lots of information on how to set up a Google form. It is extremely easy. Again, you already have a Google account. So there's a lot of tutorials on YouTube about how to set that up. It is likely that your sponsor could also help you walk you through it. If not, do feel free to contact me and I can walk you through it. It's super, super easy. And I think people do get a little hung up on how it all works because the answers from the Google form actually go into a spreadsheet in Google Sheets that you can create. So, and then you use that to see what your sales were and use that to then color code it for, okay, this person's been invoiced. Okay, this person's paid. Okay, this person has been shipped or whatever, and that way it just kind of keeps track of what's happened with each person's order. If you watch my previous video about onboarding, when I did the coasters and I had 1,000,001 coasters to do, it was definitely hard to keep track of who had gotten what had been made, what hadn't been made. And so I came up with my own little system of how I indicated, what step of the process they were in. So Google Forms are really easy. You don't have to do that, but you can. Also, there are some other software out there, like Leafy Peach, or I think it's called What Did I Sell? And then LulaRoe also does that, where it keeps track of items that have sold. I'm actually using both. I'm using the Google form because in Leafy Peach and LulaRoe, it doesn't, though it tells you, it lets you keep track of what items have sold. It doesn't keep track, it doesn't ask for the person's information. So even though you can see that so-and-so, purchased your leggings, it doesn't give you their information. So you still need to get that. But it just helps you kind of do a double check. Okay, these are the items that sold. Do I have Google Forms from everybody? And if not, then you can kind of go back and say, hey, don't forget to fill out the Google form. So definitely that's something to think about. While I'm on the topic, Leafy Peach, Shop the Row, What Did I Sell? I'm not familiar with What Did I Sell. I have not looked into that one. I did sign up for Leafy Peach, and I did look at both that one and Shop the Row. Shop the Row does pretty much the same thing. It does allow you to do some inventory uploads and help keep you out of Facebook jail, but I plan to use the Google Drive, so I probably won't use Shop the Row at all. And Leafy Peach and Shop the Row, both what they do is when you're having online sales, album sales, it keeps track of when someone comments sold. So it's very helpful if you're doing multiple sales at once. One, if you weren't using that software, I don't know that I recommend that because that just seems like how the heck would you keep track? But if you are doing multiple sales at once, so say you're in a couple of multi-consultant groups and you're doing sales all on the same night, that seems like that might not be a good idea. But with Leafy Peach, what it does is it has pictures of all the inventory, and you can put in all the different sales that you're taking part in at that point. And anytime someone comments sold, it removes that so that nobody else can comment sold. And then it keeps track of that for you. So then you can go in and filter, and at the end of the sale, see who, what items sold and who purchased them. So it is a really great way to keep track of those things. And Leafy Peach was a little bit less expensive. It was like $4.99 a month, where Shop the Row is like $9.99. Both very inexpensive, so it's not gonna break the bank. But you just have to figure out what's best for you. Another cool thing is something called Consultant Aid. Something you're gonna find is that, and if you're watching this in the future, maybe you won't have this issue, but right now, LulaRoe is having some trouble keeping up with inventory. So right now we're like completely out of TC leggings. Nobody can get TC leggings. People are just, going crazy. And it's one of those things where when you basically have to stalk LulaRoe excuse me, so you have to stalk Bless to see when the items are becoming available. So it's all of a sudden, it might be 2:00 in the morning and they have posted, that they have 1,000 2-packs of TC leggings. Well, if you didn't know or you're sleeping, you done missed out, because I'm going to tell you it's probably going to be gone in about 5 minutes. This also helps when they do kind of the specialty things like the Halloween leggings and those sorts of things. So what Consultant Aid does is it basically is an alert system. I believe it's $5 or $6 a month, and you put your phone number in, and anytime that LulaRoe puts up new inventory, it sends you a alert to your phone or to your email that says, new inventory has been posted, what that inventory is, so you know that it's a TC legging or it's an Azure or whatever it is, and the quantity that they've posted. So it keeps track of that, and it sends you an immediate alert that says, hey, they posted TC leggings. And I don't know about you, but if it's something that I'm like hounding for, if that alert goes off in the middle of the night, you better believe that I'm going to be up and ordering some leggings or whatever it is. So that is a great way to make sure that you score the things that you want to score. Because it's tough out there when everybody wants Halloween leggings, for instance, and you can't get them. Because they sell out in like 2 minutes. So just be aware of that. That is a really great tool. And what I also found out from a YouTube video was that, and maybe this is sort of against the rules, so don't shoot the messenger, I'm just telling you, that there are some downlines that they purchased the subscription for their group, and then they used, for the phone number, they used a Google number. Google numbers allow you to forward text messages to multiple phone numbers. So what they've done is one person's paid for a subscription, and everybody in their group or their downline gets to take advantage of that. So everybody gets the alert. So that is a little trick. Whether it's allowed or not, I don't know. I'm just giving you the information. So the other thing is there is a couple of ways to keep track of a couple of software offerings that allow you to keep track of sales and inventory and all that good stuff. One of the kind of pain points with the Build and Bless system is that when you place an order for something in Build, so say you purchased, 33 Julias or whatever it is, those quantities of styles and sizes are not going to show up in your inventory to be sold in Bless. So you got to manually go in there and add all of the sizes and styles that you purchased and the quantities. What a pain. But also you want to keep track of your sales. You want to keep track of inventory levels. And I mean, when you've got 1,000-piece inventory, do you truly know exactly how many you have of every little thing? Probably not. So this allows you to see what those levels are, and because they're both based on sort of a spreadsheet system, you can also see use it to analyze sales data. So let's say, for instance, that you're carrying, 10 different styles, and you notice in your in the sales that over the last 6 months, the maxis aren't really selling for you, and they're not turning over. Well, that might be that might mean that it's just time to move on to a different style and get rid of that inventory. So you can see sort of those types of things if you're keeping track of your sales data and your inventory sales data. And these softwares allow you to do that. So those two things are Lula Reports and I think it's called the Easy Peasy spreadsheets. Easy Peasy, yeah, Easy Peasy spreadsheets. Lula Reports automatically syncs. It's a Google Chrome extension, and it automatically syncs with Build and Bless. Is it Build and Bless? Yeah. It automatically syncs with Build and Bless. So it pulls all of your sales and inventory data in from there. It is a little bit more limited in what information it offers you versus Easy Peasy spreadsheets. But it is a little bit more user-friendly, I would like to say. Because it gives you graphs and those sorts of things that it makes it really easy for you to see that, if you got a pie graph of the sales of all of your different styles, and you see that the maxi is a little sliver, then it's not really a good seller, and it's time to, move on to a new style. So that's sort of a benefit of that. Easy Peasy spreadsheets, I believe I will be using that. I think I've decided. It gives you a lot more information, which I think your accountant would be thrilled with because it allows you to track all your sales, track your customers, track your, if somebody has a credit, track your inventory, track your expenses, what you purchased from LulaRoe, what your inventory value is at any given point in time, both wholesale and retail. It just has, there's like 15 tabs. It's ridiculous. The only thing that does not have, to my knowledge, is it doesn't do the graphs. But if you know anything about Excel, it's pretty easy to build those things out. Okay, so that's that. So then the last thing you may want to, you're going to need to consider is how are you going to ship? There are two options that pretty much everybody uses, and those are stamps.com or Shipping Easy. I decided to go with Shipping Easy over stamps.com because Shipping Easy actually integrates with Build and Bless. Or actually, it isn't Bless, sorry, it's just Bless. So when you place an order in Bless for a customer, it's pulls that order information automatically by sync into Shipping Easy. So once you go into Shipping Easy, you'll see that there are all the orders that you know that were just put into to Bless that you need to ship. So it's got what they purchased. You can build it in so that you have the weight of each product. That is a little more work, but I think it would be worth it in the end. We'll see, especially if you're doing a lot of shipping. So it allows you to put that information in. So when someone places, when someone places an order, it automatically syncs over. So you have what they ordered, if you put it in, what the weight is of that package, and then also all their shipping information. So then it's a simple matter of click and the little label prints out and you're done. So that's why I went with it. A lot more people use stamps.com, but what I found was people didn't know that that Shipping Easy integrated with Bless. Research, people, research. So that's just why I chose it. I mean, if you want to choose stamps.com, go for it. Excuse me, I'm going to get a drink. My throat was getting dry. Okay, so you need to make a choice as to what program you're going to use. With both stamps.com and Shipping Easy, you do get a shipping discount, and you do have to pay for these softwares. I'm not sure how much stamps.com is off the top of my head. Shipping Easy, if you mail under a certain amount of packages every month, then it's free. But once you go, and I want to say it's maybe 100, maybe. Then once you go over that, you have to pay. And it's not a huge amount of money, maybe $20 or something. But they do give you a discount on the postage, which is very nice. And it makes up for the fee that you have to pay. And then you're just choosing, what shipping service you want to use and those sorts of things. And then we'll get into packaging and that sort of thing later. But definitely need to figure out which one you want to use and sign up for that and get that going. Because you're going to do a lot of shipping. Just going to guarantee you. Unless you're doing only in-home pop-ups and events, you're going to do a lot of shipping. All right, so moving on. What do you need to get? This can seem very daunting. I mean, we've gone over a lot of things already. If you don't have the money, okay, if you were like me and you just struggled to even just get the money to onboard, you had no money left over, then you can get through this with very little additional investment. You don't have to get the hangers and the racks and the mannequin and all of that stuff. If you're going to do album sales, you can just make it through. If you had one hanger, just hanging it on the wall and then using that app to put the information on there. So you could do it that way if you wanted to, or if you needed to, I should say. You could also do it without getting a lighting kit, or a tripod or any of those other things. It's going to be a lot more time consuming and probably a lot more frustrating. and the photographs obviously aren't going to be as good. But if you have to get by without that until you start making some money, then I don't think that that's an issue. People aren't going to be like, oh, her photographs are terrible, I'm not going to buy from her. I mean, unless they're so bad that they can't see the product, they're still going to buy. So don't worry about that. But there are some things that you do want to get. The first thing is business cards. What I personally did, and you don't have to do this, but I was lazy. I'm doing a lot of research on YouTube. I don't have time to design my own business cards. So what I did was I went to Etsy and I purchased some already designed business cards. I think it was $5. And I get to keep the file, and you can customize it to have your information on it. So I did that, and then I customized it and uploaded it to Vistaprint. And Vistaprint's always having some deal. So I think I got 200 business cards. I think it was 200. 200 for like $20. So it was very, very cheap. So you want to get business cards. You want to put all your information on there, and think about, how you want to brand yourself. There are a lot of different types of business cards, a lot of different designs. LulaRoe has their own, I guess, sanctioned ones that they sell on their sales site. I can't remember the name of that. They have their own site where they sell racks, they sell hangers, they sell all kinds of stuff on there. It is more expensive, but you can buy business cards on there. You can buy, and there's actually two sites. One has like the racks and the mannequins, and you can get like t-shirts that say LulaRoe on it and all that stuff. And then they have sort of like the supply side, which is like your business cards, your thank you cards, that sort of thing. Pop-up banners and whatnot. I did not go that route. I just went to Etsy and I just purchased a design that I really loved, and went that way. You are eventually going to need some hangers. There are a lot of great places to get hangers. The cheapest, and I did a lot of research into this, the cheapest is Costco. However, not everybody has a Costco membership or has a Costco nearby. Now, you can't order them online, but, if you don't have a membership, you can't order anything. So, okay, sorry about that. My daughter started to cry. Where was I? Oh yeah, so hangers at Costco. They are by far the cheapest. I think they're about 29 cents a piece, what it breaks down to. But you can get them pretty cheap on eBay or some other places. So if you don't have a Costco membership, BJ's or Sam's might have them, or certainly you can just order them on eBay. I think they're about 10 cents more expensive on eBay, which I think was the next cheapest option. So you will need some hangers. Pretty much everybody gets the velvet flocked ones, and I can definitely see the benefit to that. Certainly you don't have to. You could just go get plastic hangers if that's what you want to do. It doesn't really matter. It's completely up to you. It's your business. So just whatever you want to get. But the velvet flocked ones are the ones you can get at Costco, and they're pretty cheap. The next thing you're going to need is racks, or something to hang your clothes on. This is especially true if you're doing in-home pop-ups or events. You're going to need a rack. I cannot stress enough how important it is to not get a cheap rack. You will only kick yourself for it later. When you start hanging all the clothes on there, if it's not a commercial grade rack that can handle the weight, you're gonna regret it. because it'll just collapse and break. So you can get the commercial racks pretty cheap, I think. And if you're doing in-home pop-ups and such, you want ones that collapse and sort of fold up for transport. So you can get those a lot of different places. A lot of people go to Bed Bath & Beyond, and they use like a 20% off coupon. Certainly you can do that. I think I found them just as cheap without having to use the coupon on eBay. I got some commercial grade, and I got single racks. I didn't get the double racks because I felt like the clothes might hit each other, and I just didn't want to deal with that. So I got a commercial grade rack that held up to 250 pounds. So definitely don't skimp on the rack. You need something decent. And I think I only paid like $50 or $55 for my rack, with free shipping on eBay. So it was really cheap. I also had the option, there was a store fixture place locally here in Raleigh. So I could have gone down there and purchased it, and other consultants in the area have done that. They're only open Monday through Friday, so it was not convenient for me to get down there. So, but you are going to need something. If you are strapped for cash and you can't get a rack, you are going to need something to hold the clothes in, and certainly just a Rubbermaid tote is super cheap, and you can get some of those and just heap all the clothes in there. You're probably going to need something like that anyway for the leggings, unless you are lucky enough to have a LulaRoe, which right now I do not because my brother's living in it. But if you're lucky enough to have a LulaRoe, there are a lot of display options. And one of the things I really thought that was cool, and some people won't agree with me, but I saw somebody who they were like rings that went on the rack, and then they had these little clips on them. And so you could just have the leggings folded, in half, and then just hang them on the rack. Genius. So you can do a lot of different things that way, and that way you can hang them. And then at that point, I think a double rack would be awesome, because you could hang one size on one side and TC on the other. Just an idea, throwing it out there. Most people don't do that, but I mean, it's totally up to you what you want to do. Also, you're probably going to want to get some, even if you do have racks, you're going to want to get like some IKEA bags, or I think people use like the 31 bags, whatever you want to use. But you're going to need some bags to transport the clothes to pop-ups and events. The IKEA bags, I think, are like $2.99. So if you have an IKEA near you, I would consider purchasing those. I think you can also order them online. And LulaRoe has their own pink ones, but they are really expensive. But certainly if you want a pink IKEA bag, go for it. I think they're super cute. If you are going to do Facebook parties, you're going to need to photograph the clothes. Like I said earlier, you don't have to have a mannequin. You don't have to have a lighting kit. You don't have to have a tripod, but it is eventually going to make your life a lot easier. So pretty much everybody orders their lighting kit online, usually on Amazon. I got mine on eBay. It was the same price as on Amazon, but I was ordering all my stuff on eBay, so it just... and a lot of people get the ones with the umbrella. I personally did not do that. I like the results of a softbox much better, so that's what I got. And it's pretty much the same price. So I just got softboxes instead. But it's completely up to you, whatever you want to do. There is some merit to having a third light. They do have some kits, which are a little bit more expensive. I think they were like $100 or $110. And they have a third softbox light that is on a boom and it hangs over the top. So that would be great, so that you didn't have any shadows, but you can move the lights in such a way that you don't get shadows. But I just thought, man, I wish I had the extra $50 to get that. But certainly you don't need to do that. But you do want to get a set of daylight balanced. Make sure they're daylight balanced. Continuous lighting, whether that is with the umbrellas or with the soft boxes. And what they do now is it's like a fluorescent light, but it's daylight balanced. When you're photographing your clothes, I'm just going to give you this little tidbit. Turn all your other ambient lights off. It defeats the purpose of having a daylight balanced lighting kit so that you get true color if you have your overhead light on, which is not daylight balanced. Then you've got a yellow cast. Or you have sunlight coming in through a window. If you have shades, draw them. You're going to get a better result. If you are lucky enough to have beautiful natural lighting, well, you're just lucky. But otherwise, I would turn off all the other ambient light and just have the softbox going. So like I mentioned earlier, I got something else in addition to help me with close-up photos. On eBay, and I think there's also on Amazon, is they have these little ring light adapters that hook onto your phone. So it actually goes into one of the ports, I think. I think it does. But it's a ring light, and it goes over the camera lens on your phone. Right there. And so when you're photographing something close up, you're getting a nice, pretty ring light. And later on when I do some other videos and I have that nice ring light, you're going to be able to tell the difference in the lighting. Because I'm going to have a nice, even light and not this ugly shadow, and my face won't look all funny, and it'll just make me look nicer. Maybe younger if I'm lucky. So anyways, so that's something I bought, and I think it was like $10. It was super cheap. And that'll give you a nice light when you're photographing the close up. You can get a background if you like. A lot of people do. They get the backdrops with, if it looks like wood, or they get windows, or I don't know, it doesn't matter, whatever you want to get. You don't have to do that. You can use your nice gray wall and put your mannequin or your dress form up there, and your sign or not your sign, whatever. But certainly you don't have to get a background if you don't want to. I am lucky enough that my brother does palette stuff, so he is actually creating a background for me that's made out of palettes, so I'm really excited about that. But you can get them pretty cheap on eBay and Amazon if you want. Something also that you can do, and I talked about this earlier, is you can get a sign for the background. So I had already purchased this stuff because if you watch my other video, I had to make some stuff to onboard, and one of the things I was going to do was I was going to make one of the signs that says LulaRoe with the name, and then where you can change out the style and the size. I didn't end up doing that, but I had bought something to make a sample, so I'm going to use that and then make my own sign. So I'll have my own sign that says LulaRoe Rebecca Wise, and all the different styles and sizes that I can switch out whenever I want. You can also use the app that I talked about earlier, that will allow you to do an overlay that has the style and the size, and I think even the price and your name and some other stuff. So those are definitely two options. If you're going to do live sales, you need claim numbers. A lot of people do the claim check, coat claim checks that you can get on Amazon, and that's certainly a great idea. I personally didn't really like that. I kind of wanted something more custom, so I went on Etsy. Another thing is with those, when you're doing video, everything is backwards. So here, I have one right here. Actually, I have one right here. So when you're doing video, everything is backwards. So when I hold up the number, now I had these printed flipped, so they're not backwards for you. But when you're doing a video, everything is backwards. So when you hold up a regular, let's see, I don't think I have one. Seven numbers that show up. So if you notice now, see, this is backwards. So everybody's got to look at the number backwards. So I didn't like that. So I was like, well, I'm gonna make numbers so that they're printed backwards, so that for you guys it comes out correct. So what I did was I went on Etsy again, because I love Etsy, and someone was selling the digital file that they had created with all these numbers on them, and I think it went up to 500. I did not print 500 because I was like, one, my printer died at like 250, but I just didn't think it was necessary to have 500, because I don't see myself doing a live sale where I'm going to have 250 pieces to sell. I mean, I'm not going to do that many in a live sale. That's kind of ridiculous. So I downloaded the digital file. Again, I think I paid $5 for the file itself, and it was a PDF that I could then print out. And it comes 4 to a sheet, and then I just cut them out. I have a little paper cutter, and I just sliced them all up and did that. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to punch holes in them, obviously. But what I'm going to do is get some grommets and put the grommets through the hole, so that when I am taking them on and off constantly of the hanger, it doesn't rip it and eventually make it all grungy. So I'm going to put little grommets in there to kind of protect it. You could also, and I'm thinking about this, but I'm kind of on the fence because it would be a lot. But you can also laminate them to keep them really nice. And then my husband had a great idea. I have to hand it to him. We were talking about doing live sales, and he's like, I just don't think I can keep up. I have a terrible memory. You're going to tell me that, so-and-so bought whatever, and I'm going to forget as soon as you tell me. So, I said, well, we can try this or we can try that. And he's like, well, what if we just, if they're laminated, I could just take a whiteboard marker and just write the person's name on the back. Well, that was genius. So you could definitely do that, and then it wipes off for the next sale. So that's something you are going to want to do if you're going to do live sales. If you're not going to do live sales, don't bother. So I paid $5 for the file, and then I think I paid another $5 for all the paper, which I still have half the paper left over. And then of course the ink, it did suck down all my ink. It is what it is, but they're cute. And I think the Amazon ones, if I remember correctly, were like, I want to say they were maybe $10. Don't quote me on that because I'm not sure. Too many things to remember. Okay, so the next thing you're going to want to do, like I said, you're going to have to ship all this stuff out. So you need shipping supplies. So you have a couple of different options when it comes to printing the shipping labels. Everybody is getting the Dymo 4XL. Some people are getting the Dymo 450, but the label is smaller. It's a weird size label, but it is a little bit cheaper. But everybody's getting this Dymo 4XL, and super fast. Just prints. It's a thermal printer. So it just, all of a sudden will just, you put in a roll of labels, and it just spits out all these labels. So that's awesome. And I will be getting one of those once I start, making some money. Because there are about, if you can get them on sale, I've seen people get them as cheap as like $150. But I think normally they're like $2 something. So they're not cheap. But you don't have to do that. As long as you have a printer, you can just print your own labels. And that's what I'm going to do for the time being. So, because I sucked all the printer ink down with my little number signs, I purchased some more printer ink. But I also just printed. I also just purchased the labels on the sheet. It's four labels to a sheet, and I think that's right. Is that right? 4 labels to a sheet. You have to be careful because with Shipping Easy and Stamps.com, they have preset label sizes and presets for the shipping labels. So you need to consult that before you decide what labels to buy, which is what I did, and I purchased the ones that are, I think it's 4 to a sheet. Am I trying? No, it's not. I was looking for those, but I couldn't find them. They're half sheets, so each one is on a sheet, and then it prints sort of in the center, so you have some white space on the outside, but it is what it is. So you get the half sheets, and I don't remember the Avery number off the top of my head. There is an Avery number that you can, and I just got some generic ones, sort of the knockoff, that's where they say it's the same as Avery whatever. I got, I want to say like 500 sheets or 500 labels maybe, and I think it was $17 on eBay with free shipping. So that should keep me for a little while until I'm able to purchase a Dymo. If you want to buy a Dymo, I would suggest just keeping an eye out. Oftentimes, other consultants will say, hey, everybody, such and such is having a sale on the Dymo this week, and I got mine for, $150. So just keep an eye out for that, because that does happen every so often. The other thing you're going to need is a shipping scale. I heard that Stamps.com sends you one, but when I looked into it, it didn't say that it sent you one. I know for me, because I'm using Shipping Easy, there's only certain scales that are compatible with Shipping Easy, so you want to make sure that you get one of those. It has to be one of the digital scales that hooks in via USB, and it actually is a Dymo scale too. That was the ones that I could find. They had some other brands, but I didn't see those. But I'm going to tell you, scales are expensive. You would not think a shipping scale would be $50, but a shipping scale is $50. I almost had a heart attack. I'm like, $50 for a scale, and it's like a 3-pound scale. So if someone orders like 4 things, you can't use the scale. So anyways, again, this is one of those things where I found it on eBay, and it was like an auction item or buy it now, something or other, that just a private seller was selling. And I think I got a 10-pound, because I felt like probably not going to go over 10 pounds, not likely. And if I do, I have a digital bathroom scale. I can just use that. So I did get a 10-pound scale, which is normally like, I want to say like $80. Ridiculous. I got it for 30, I think 30 with free shipping. So that was pretty good. So just kind of peruse eBay, and you can usually find some really great deals. The next thing you're going to need for shipping is poly mailers or some sort of a mailer, as well as some boxes. So there are sort of 2 different schools of thought. You've got the people who use like the regular poly mailers, and then you've got the people who are using the USPS priority mail envelopes, padded envelopes, and certainly both are going to work. I can tell you from experience that with the USPS priority mail ones, you have a I want to say it starts at like $6. It's not very inexpensive. It is more money to do it with the priority mail padded mailer than it is to just use a poly mailer and do like first class mail. So it's up to you, and what you decide to charge for shipping for your customers. I am going to do the $3 shipping, because in most cases, if they're ordering one thing, it's about $2.60 using Shipping Easy. to mail it even to like Seattle and stuff. So it's completely up to you. I would, however, get some of the priority mail boxes, because if you are going to have to upgrade to a box, that is going to be your cheapest option. And you can either order those online, or with the boxes, usually your local post office will have them, unless you live in one of those really small towns where they just don't carry that kind of thing. I know mine, I live in like a one stoplight town. It's a pretty small town. And they did have some in the back. They just don't have them in the front. So you might have to ask for the boxes. And usually a medium-sized box will suffice, unless they really went all out and ordered a lot, in which case you'll probably need a large box. Don't bother getting the small one. It's like this big. You can't fit nothing in it but a pair of leggings. So it's not even worth it. So you need at least a medium or a large box. I went the poly mailer route. I didn't want, it was cheaper. So I went on eBay and I bought some pink poly mailers. Now there are some unicorn poly mailers out there, but they're always sold out. So so I bought some just pink poly mailers. I didn't get the super thin ones. They're different weights of them. I think there's like a 3 mil, a 5 mil, and a 10. I got the 5 because I felt like the 3, I didn't want to go too thin, because if it would be easier to rip. And the post office is not very gentle on their stuff. So I bought pink poly mailers. Another concern is oftentimes with the poly mailers, it's not watertight. So if somebody gets a package and their postman or whatever leaves it on their doorstep and they don't have like a porch or something, then it's likely that it might get wet on the inside, because it's not watertight. So a lot of people are getting like Ziploc bags also to put it in before they put it into the poly mailer, which I think is a great idea. It does come in a plastic bag when it's shipped to you, so you can put it back in that. Some people do it. I don't think that's waterproof either. So I think you're just gonna have to figure out what works best. So you definitely need those. A lot of people use sorry, my phone was like low battery. A lot of people use the printed thank you notes with the care instructions on the back. And I will be going that route eventually, but right now it's kind of expensive to print those. They're like a 5x7, so if you want to have them printed, even at like Vistaprint or something, it's pretty expensive. So eventually I'll probably go that route, but this time I decided not to. So what I did was I made a little trip to the dollar store. Dollar Tree, not the dollar store because it's not always a dollar, but Dollar Tree, it always is. So I went to Dollar Tree and I got like the packs of the thank you cards, and I'm just going to write a little thank you note in the inside. I also think it makes it a little more personal. And then eventually I'll switch over to the thank you cards and the care instructions. But I got like a bunch of packs of those for $1 each, and I think there's like 8 in a pack, something like that. So, and then I also got sticky notes. If you're doing live sales, you're probably gonna need sticky notes, especially if you're doing them by yourself. Live sales, you don't usually want to do by yourself. It's just a lot of work. It's not that you can't, it's just a lot of work. Because you're trying to keep track of when somebody buys something, as well as get the clothes and show the clothes and do all that. So, sticky notes is an option, so that you can, when something is sold, write their name on it, and then put it like on the tag or on the back of the number, or like my husband suggested, just write it on the number. Completely up to you. But I did get a couple of packages of sticky notes, just to have in case. I did talk about, for your setup for taking pictures, you do need You don't have to have it, but most people get a dress form. And it comes in all kinds of shapes and sizes and colors and designs and all kinds of stuff. I know how cheap they can be sometimes with the pedestal. So I purposely kind of looked to make sure that I wasn't getting something that had like a really cheap base, so that it wasn't all wobbly and wonky. And then plus I had sort of a theme going, so I wanted a white mannequin with a black base and whatnot. So anyways, I bought mine on eBay just like everything else. Again, my store Fixture Place here in Raleigh had them, and I probably could have gone down there and got like a used one for a little bit cheaper. But I ended up paying, I want to say like 30-40 bucks for it. I mean, it was not bad, and it adjusts, the height adjusts and everything. So so those aren't too terribly expensive once you can afford it. Okay, two last things. I know I've gone on forever. I have a tendency to do that. But I have so much information to share with you. So one of the last things that you're going to want to get, if you want to be organized, certainly come up with your own system. There are lots of YouTube videos on shipping processes and what people have come up with to be organized and make it more efficient. And after watching a lot of those videos, I decided that I was going to kind of use the bin system, as I like to call it. And basically that just, when, like, if you're doing a online sale, you can just pull that piece, put it on a rack, and then when you, there's a couple of different methods you can use, but you can sort of do it two ways. Either as soon as you send the invoice, you sort of package it up and get it ready. You don't seal it up or anything, but you just get it ready. And then you put it in like the invoiced bin. And then when they've paid the invoice and it's ready to ship, you move it to the next bin. And then when it's shipped and ready to go, it goes in the last bin. I mean, whatever your process wants to be. So I did go and get a bunch of bins. We are very tight on space. Very tight on space. So everything is in my bedroom. Basically, my bedroom has become the catch-all for the house. So I actually had to spend this weekend cleaning it up. But we have very little space. But I am a stickler for being organized because I just can't deal with chaos. I have to have things in order because it just makes it easier. So I did go and get some bins for the shipping process. And I also got some like little things for organization and such. But you want to come up with your own system for shipping. It is extremely important, especially when you start shipping a lot. When you're only doing 5 or 10, it's not really that big of a deal. But when you start getting, 50 to 100 packages that you have to ship out, that process is going to save your life. So come up with a process that you want to use. You can always change it later, but think about how you want to do that process, and certainly go look at some YouTube videos on what some other people are doing for their process. Once I've started doing it, I'll probably do my own to show you kind of how I do the process, but it's just another way to do it. The last thing, okay, I promise this is the last thing. The last thing you want to do is you want to, now LulaRoe in your initial package is supposed to be sending you a LulaRoe planner. Now, I heard recently that they are out and don't have any planners left, and so people aren't getting them. But I'm also impatient, and I decided I didn't want to wait. So what I did was I went and I purchased myself a really nice planner with all of the pop-ups and events and online parties and everything else. You're going to want to stay really organized and schedule yourself out. That way you know what days you have things, what days you don't, so that you don't have big gaps of times when you don't have anything going on. So what I did was I went and got a planner, and one of the things that I did during this whole process while I'm waiting is, and like I talked about in the beginning, is having that plan. What do you want to do? And so what I did was I kind of figured my plan out and what I wanted to do, and how I wanted to do my initial launch, and then what I wanted to do after that. And I'm in an area that's very competitive. There's a lot of consultants in my area. And so I needed to be sure that I was working way ahead in time. So I was already looking for, events I could go to, and trying to get in touch with those people and start booking those things. And then, as you're booking pop-ups, as you're at in-home pop-ups, and do you have people that want to schedule, you're going to need to have your planner there so you know when you can and cannot do a pop-up. And then also for your Facebook Live sales and for your multi-consultant sales and your leggings loops and everything else, you're going to want to know when those things are happening so that you can stay organized and stay on top of things. That's one of the reasons why I got the Leafy Peach, was because I plan on doing literally as much as I possibly can, which we'll find out if that turns out to be a good thing or not, whether or not I've overextended myself and my inventory. That's the biggest thing I think I'm going to run into is, can my inventory sustain all of these sales, and parties and pop-ups and such. Especially now when all I have is the initial inventory. I've got no leggings. I didn't get anything extra. So it's going to be interesting to see, given that I have pretty much filled my calendar for the first 2 weeks with something almost every day, if I'm going to be able to actually do those things. And there is some lag time with the shipping, so you have to be really careful about that. And there is a lag in when you get paid from LulaRoe. So I think it takes, once you put an order into Bless, I think it takes a day or two before you actually get the money into your account. Because don't forget that they deposit it into your bank account. So it's like a direct deposit. So it takes, I think, 2 days. I think it's 2 days. So you may, if you can, have a little money saved so that when you, or set aside, I should say, so that when you start making sales, you don't have to wait for that money to clear before you can make a purchase, because now you're waiting 2 days for the money to clear. Then you're probably waiting another 4 days, maybe 5 days for that order to arrive. So now you're already a week behind. So I will probably not do myself a service by having booked all these things, but I did, in my waiting time, I did line up a lot of multi-consultant groups that I'm part of, and there's some leggings loops and all kinds of stuff. So I did do all that. Hopefully it doesn't come back to bite me. But what I did was I did get a nice planner, and I like this one because I can color. It'll help me de-stress if I can color on it. So I just went and got this planner. It's pretty thick because it breaks it down. Let me get to the page here. So you got your just general calendar, and then it breaks each day. It breaks each day down so you can schedule things out. Now, my sponsor had given me like it broken down each day by like the hour. I thought that was a little bit much. I didn't feel like I needed to go that crazy because I wasn't going to have something planned for every hour of the day. So what I'll do is, let me see if I have something. So what and I haven't filled it out yet. So what I will do is I'll just put, this sale at this, from this time to this time. And then the other sale from, this time to this time, if I'm doing multiple sales in one day. But this just allows me to stay super organized, and then it has, and then I can like book pop-ups and all kinds of stuff. You can see this is my November so far. And I haven't even filled it all out yet. So, so it's pretty busy. And I hope I can keep up. So anyways, so definitely go out and get yourself a planner. You are welcome to wait for the LulaRoe one. Hopefully you get it. But I just decided I didn't want to. And I think I got this for like $10 at Walmart. But it's worth it to me because I don't have to wait for my inventory to arrive before I can start making notes and writing things down and scheduling things out. So I love this. This is my new best friend. So I definitely suggest getting one of those. I think that's pretty much it. I hope I didn't forget anything. I certainly rambled on long enough where it's unlikely that I missed anything. But, there is a lot to do. So don't be sitting around while you're waiting in the queue. Even if you can't purchase things, there is planning that you can do. There is legwork that you can do. So certainly don't wait around because you'll only make yourself crazy. I sort of put it off because I was so focused on trying to raise the money that I didn't 100% focus on the planning. I did do some planning because I'm kind of a perfectionist and crazy. But of course I watched a lot of YouTube videos and such. But you definitely want to make sure that you're making time to plan things out, to educate yourself on all there is to know. Even after the mountain of YouTube videos that I watched and all the groups that I'm in and, stalking Facebook 24/7, I certainly don't know everything. I still haven't figured out what a leggings loop is. I just don't, it doesn't make any sense. So there's a lot to know. So don't wait. Get started now. Make sure that you have all your ducks in a row. Even if you can't afford to purchase things now, figure out where the things that you want to purchase, where it's cheapest or most convenient, whatever, for you. And sort of get those things, create a list and decide what you're going to get and where's the cheapest place to get it. So that when the time comes and you can afford to get it, that you don't have to do any legwork because you're going to be busy doing other things. So that's my spiel. I'm sorry I went along for 40 minutes. Oh my gosh. But there's a lot of things that you can be doing. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Definitely reach out to your sponsor. Your sponsor is there to support you, to give you as much information as possible. You need to reach out to them and their upline and get the information that you need. If you're in the queue already, you've probably heard in the queue calls that they do encourage you to reach out to your entire upline, all the way up to the top, which might prove difficult because sometimes it can be a very long line. But certainly reach out to at least a few of the steps up. So that you can get a different perspective. And if your sponsor is not very responsive, find out who her sponsor is and kind of say, hey, I need some help here. If all else fails, do feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help anybody who has any questions. And you can do that. You can reach me at LulaRoeRebeccaWise@gmail.com. So, hopefully you found this all very informational and you wrote everything down, and you're going to do some research, and be really prepared for the craziness to begin, because I think it's going to be so much fun, but it's going to be crazy. I'm already like going off 3 hours of sleep every night. So just make sure that you're prepared, do your research, and have fun. Yay! All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.